Where the Wild Things Are is not a movie for everybody. It may feature a child and a bunch of talking creatures, but it's not really much of a kid's movie, and I think that's what kind of throws so many people off. It looks like a children's movie, for the most part, and it was adapted from a children's book, so it's pretty confusing when you watch it expecting your typical kids movie. There are themes and concepts in here that I think most kids wouldn't really understand. It's more so a movie for adults to kind of remind them of their childhood, I think. Not only this, but it's also just a weird movie in general, so I get it if some people aren't really into it. The film follows a kid named Max who runs away from home and winds up in a land of strange monsters that take him in as their king. Here, Max finds ruling over these creatures to be a little more difficult than he thought. Now, if you're the kind of person who doesn't like movies that don't have a very likable main character, then you probably won't like this one. They make it pretty clear the kind of person Max is in the very first scene. He's rambunctious, easily hurt, quick to anger, and always wants his way. The reason he runs away from home is because he wasn't getting the attention he wanted that particular night. So he's pretty much just an average kid. He isn't neglected or abused or anything. They make it clear that his mom loves him, so there's not really any reason for the audience to empathize with Max when he gets so upset over practically nothing. So if that sounds like something you wouldn't want to watch for an hour and 40 minutes, then you may want to skip this one. The Wild Things aren't too much different either, especially the main one, Carol, played by none other than James Gandolfini.
I'm sorry, Tony. I wouldn't do anything to insult you. Our kids go to the same school together.
The things they do and say range from crazy and nonsensical to relatable and strangely human. The main conflict between the Wild Things is that Carol feels betrayed by KW, who he seems to have a thing for. She's been spending less and less time with the gang to hang out with these new friends she's got. Carol, who like Max is quick to anger, takes this pretty hard and causes some ruckus. There's this scene where all the monsters, including KW, all pile up on Max, and while they're all chilling there, one of them mentions something about not wanting the moment to end, and I feel like this perfectly conveys the theme of change the movie has. Carol has a difficult time adjusting to KW not being around as much, and worries that one day she may never come back, and that even more things will start to change as well. He feels lonely and he's scared of losing what he has. Even the other Wild Things are against change and are scared of things going bad. They want to stay in the good times and are terrified of losing that. Now if that ain't some human shit, then I don't know what is. I guess I'll address the elephant in the room now. Yes, the Wild Things are pretty disturbing to look at. I can't really imagine a child finding this very comforting. The movie's from 2009 and they're still a little nightmarish. I've known about this movie since when it came out, so I knew how creepy these things looked. And even though it hasn't been too terribly long since it was released, I still would have thought they would look a little more outdated and a little less scary. But nope, these CGI mascots are still a bit spooky after all this time. Which on the other hand, goes to show how well the effects have held up over the years. Much to my surprise, there's a lot of melancholy in the movie. The main characters are sad, the land of the Wild Things feels desolate and lonely, even the ending is a bit of a downer. Everything's just a bit depressing here. While there are times when things are cheerful and happy, there are quite a bit of somber moments too, and those are the ones that stuck out to me the most. The film's got a specific feeling to it and I really enjoyed it. Another thing that I think might surprise people who haven't seen this is the subtlety that it has. There aren't really many moments in the movie where information is spoon-fed to the audience. There are a couple scenes where they do some explaining, but it doesn't happen too often. They leave it more up to the viewers to figure a lot of things out. It doesn't treat its audience like a bunch of idiots, and I appreciated that. Director Spike Jonze and the rest of the crew did a great job giving the movie a sort of indie feel. The camera work and song choices do a lot to help out in that regard. Everything up to right before Max meeting the Wild Things feels like a regular coming-of-age indie film. Even when the Wild Things come into the story, it still retains that indie feel. It gave the movie a pretty unique sense of style, which I quite liked. And the movie's sweet, sweet atmosphere is largely due to the soundtrack. Some of the original songs by Karen O and the Kids contain a fun and lighthearted energy, while others are more slow and beautiful.
Right away, gonna take me from my man.
While I understand that a lot of people may not like or care for Where the Wild Things Are, I think it at least deserves a chance. It's a unique and surprisingly moving film that I enjoyed watching quite a bit.